Welcome to the Fighting on Film podcast, the podcast all about classic and obscure war movies, from the Normandy landings to the days of chivalry and swords. If it's been captured on film, we're going to try and cover it. I'm Robbie of RM Military History.
I'm Matthew Moss of Historical Firearms and the Armourer's Bench. Hello and welcome back to Fighting on Film. This week we are going to take a look at Red Dawn 2012's prequel, Ceasefire 1953, a Korean War film.
That's reaching.
I know.
Lovely callback, but that is reaching.
No, we've got a really special Korean War movie for you this week, which we've known about for a while and have had on our list for a while. But for some reason, we just hadn't got round to it. And then we were trying to think of a film for this week in our production meeting last week. And we remembered this gem. And I'm so glad we did, because finally sitting down to rewatch it again, just so good. So good.
Yeah. It's one of the special little movies that you come across, isn't it? But before we move into the large question this week, I want to say a big podcast congratulations to Matt, who just received his silver play button from YouTube. Amazing.
I know. Insane.
Get some clapping sound effects over there.
Ooh, some sound
Party
effects.
poppers.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's humbling. Like, thinking about it, that's 100,000 people that have sat down and liked the video enough to go, okay, I'll subscribe to this.
And the countless unsubscribed millions who have watched so far.
Yeah, I know. It was like, I had looked today, 26 million views.
Wow.
On videos. Yeah, since 2017.
Imagine the places that sweet dulcet Schem accent has graced. Beautiful.
Yeah, imagine all the people that have complained about it in the comments.
I know it, because you tell me sometimes.
No, it's amazing. It's really cool to get a plaque as well, which I never, when I started doing YouTube, I never thought like, I'd be happy with like 20,000 or something. Like, that was my goal for a long, long time. And then to surpass that is just incredible.
Incredible. 12 years of hard work. Well rewarded.
Don't think it's quite 12. It's 8. Is it 8 years? 2017, I think. Yeah, 17.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so it's about 8. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
6, 8.
It was longer.
Yeah. I know.
Probably feels
it felt
like
like
longer. Anyway, this week's large question is back in my court from last week. And I asked the FOF listenership, who do you feel should have won an Oscar for their role in a war film?
Good question.
Martin is not a bad one. Had a few replies. Martin Wincup says, surely, and he put a picture of the doorbell from the Battle of Britain. And I put, surely, the Golden Fixture Award 1969, if such a thing existed, then it would have been a shoe-in. BAFTA. Yeah. Beating out the...
Best non-live action.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yep. Best non-speaking role. Simon Whippet put Nicolas Cage for Wind Talkers carried that dog shit.
Jesus. Yeah. He's not awful in that film. He's
not actually. No, he elevates that. Kevin Getz put, without a doubt, Tom Hanks, better performance than Forrest Gump. Rob Shipman goes with Nigel Green as Colour Sergeant Bourne in Zulu, exudes a quiet authority throughout, calming the men and keeping them on task. You can't disagree. Dr. Philip Blood goes with Anthony Quayle from Ice Cold and Alex. World War II Supercut says Bruno Ganz in Downfall, incredible performance. I'd go for that. We've got Ian Hayes, who says Jürgen Prochnow for Das Boot. We've got Dave Bowen for Rod Steiger, playing Napoleon in Waterloo.
No, I can't really agree with that. No. But he's good in it, but he's like, it's not.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon in 2023.
No.
I bet no one said that, did they?
He's great, but no.
Not in that film, he's not.
No. Ian Simpson says he has a few. He puts John Lennon in How I Won the War, which is a mad film. We need to do that. The Terminate with Extreme Prejudice CIA spook in Apocalypse Now. He says RSM Britain in They Were Not Divided and Lord Attenborough in Guns at Batazi. Can't argue with that one. Can't argue with that one.
Attenborough and Batazi would be in my top 5.
Yeah. Just watch that I don't blow. Incredible. Ken Corrigan goes with Vincent D'Onofrio in Full Metal Jacket, obviously playing Gomer Pyle.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you can't argue with that one either. And I think this week we'll round off with JD, who just goes with Donald Sutherland for, of course, playing Oddball in Kelly's Heroes. And honourable mentions for Rafe Fiennes playing Erman Goeth from Heather Stewart, because I think that is a powerhouse performance. Can understand why he didn't get it. I mean, I'm not sure the Academy would give an Oscar to a person portraying a death camp commandant, but I get it because
that
it's a
is
powerhouse.
the pinnacle of acting. If you can inhabit a role that gets across that kind of evil, that's an incredible performance, isn't it?
So good, isn't it? So good. And considering he was coming off movies like Game Show and things like that, and you can see it if anyone's seen Game Show. I think it's a 1993, 92 biopic about American game show corruption, and he plays the guy they set up to win in that. And you can see little glimpses of this sort of manipulative, like, performance. It's very good, but what a performance, Matt. Who do you think should have won an Oscar?
Circle back to Attenborough and Batazzi, I think.
Blooming good.
I really like that.
Real
it's a really strong
role.
performance.
Yeah, really, really should. Yeah. Has to be Jack Hawkins in The Cruel Sea for me.
Yeah, has to be the Hawk. Again, in the top 5 for sure.
For sure. And then I put honourable mention for Tom Sizemore or Sergeant Horvath in Saving Private Ryan. So I bang on a lot about him on the pod, I know, but I do think out of a career, it's one of his top performances.
Yeah,
brings a lot to it. A lot deeper than they seem, those characters in Saving Private Ryan at times. It'll be fun when we finally do it. Stay tuned, because I've got no idea when that's coming.
Whenever Tom Hanks is ready to come on, that's when we do it.
So, cast, Matt, for Ceasefire 1953. This is a very interesting one, isn't it?
It is. So the most noteworthy element of this film is there's twofold really. It's where it's filmed, which Rob will cover in a moment, but it's also the cast. The cast is made up of serving US soldiers who were all serving in Korea. Spoiler. And essentially, the plot of the film follows a patrol which has gone out into the kind of no man's land between the two lines as the ceasefire is being kind of negotiated. The film's set on the day of the ceasefire, but they don't know that. And then there's a couple of scenes which jump back to Panmunjom and show the war correspondents chatting. So the cast is led by Roy Thompson Jr., who was a captain at the time. And then we have an entire cast of names that you won't recognize, but are important anyway. So I'll go through them. So we've got Harry Gozowski, Richard Carl Elliott, Albert Bernard Cook, Johnny L. Mays, Jong Yul Bak, who plays a South Korean soldier attached to the unit, Howard E. Strait, Gilbert L. Gazale, Harry L. Holfeich, Charlie W. Owen, Harold D. English, Edmund Pruchniewski, Otis Wright, Ricardo Carrasco, and John Maxwell. John Maxwell and Harry Landers are the two only actors in the film, and they portray war correspondents. So Maxwell had a lot of TV roles, small film roles from the 1930s onwards. You're in the Army Now, 1941, Spy Ship, 1942. He was in the very first Batman adaptation in 1943.
Wow.
OSS in 46, Carbine Williams with Jimmy Stewart in 52, War of the Worlds in 53, Johnny Guitar in 54, and Gunfight at the OK Corral in 57. So really varied and interesting kind of career. And then a slightly younger correspondent is played by Harry Landers. He doesn't have an on-screen name, and he isn't credited as such. Landers wasn't actually credited in the credits of the movie, but he was a kind of prolific TV actor in the 50s and 60s. Lots of early sci-fi serials, cowboys, cowboy and Indian kind of serials, and law enforcement shows as well. He had regular appearances in a show called Ben Casey, which was a medical drama for about 5 years in the mid-60s. He appeared in a 1966 episode of Combat, and in the same year he appeared in Rat Patrol, and in 1969 he appeared in an episode of Star Trek, the original series.
Yay, Combat and Star Trek. Yes.
Yeah, and Rat Patrol.
Yes. The fourth trifecta of
Right.
when we look at credits. What war films have they been in? Have they been in Combat? Have they been in Star Trek?
That's it. It's basically it. And any gangster films, like I always include, like, if they've been in like The Godfather, Casino, or Goodfellas or something like
anything
that.
that's
Just
won
for
an
Rob.
Oscar.
Yeah.
You know, just please, so people might know who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in movies this far back, you're like, please be something that is known.
With it being a cast of serving soldiers, it's stated at the beginning of the film that some of the men in the film were subsequently wounded or killed. Now, I've been able to find out who were wounded, but I have been able to find out that the name of one of the cast that was killed, and that was Ricardo Carrasco, who was killed on the 6th of July, 1953. So he was actually killed 23 days before the ceasefire, which the film is set on, there's a cruel irony to that, I guess.
July 27th, the ceasefire.
Was it 27th? I thought it was the 29th for some reason.
21 days.
21 days.
That's crazy.
Then, yeah.
That's mad with hindsight. Wow.
Yeah. And the film begins with a intro from General Mark W. Clark, who was the commander-in-chief of the theater. And he talks about the brave men.
Hello, I'm General Mark Clark, and I talk like this.
It's pretty good. Not bad, Clark.
A man under the command of the United Nations Command from America and other nations. He's very slow in how he talks, isn't
like
he?
He's here. He is. But he's got a presence, and it's a very interesting introduction. And I do like it when films of this period have those introductions. I think
it's like Pork Chop Hill when you get the general introducing that.
My other notes in terms of cast are that the entire cast attended the surviving cast, I should say, of veterans attended the premiere in November 1953. The New York Times Review states that numbering 1 officer and 8 enlisted men were introduced in a stage ceremony and later honored at the Paramount reception at the Astor Hotel.
More from that review later. It's the only review that exists.
Basically. Mark Clark was there as well, so it was a fairly prestigious affair. Yeah,
for essentially is a B movie. This has got a lot going for it.
Yeah, it's super short. It's only an hour and 6 minutes without Clark at the beginning. If you add Clark at the beginning, it's about an hour and 15 maybe.
Both versions are on YouTube. Just to let people know. I think this probably is out of copyright by now. Surely.
I don't know. But yeah,
there's a Blu-ray that Kino Lorber did, and they reworked the film stock, and it looks superb.
Because this film was filmed in
3D, and more from Matt on 3D in my production notes, because I've put Ask Matt about 3D, so it's coming up, folks. Production this week, directed by Owen Crump, who had been part of the American First Motion Picture Unit during the Second World War. His credits include the propaganda film Winning Your Wings in 1942, The River Changes, and 1962's The Couch. Not many massive credits to his name, but a lot of shorts, a lot of propaganda movies. But he also has a lot of writing credits that include 1971's Zeppelin.
Yeah.
1971 Zeppelin there.
Yeah.
With Michael York, yeah. Manhunt in the Jungle, The Pink Panther in Pink at First Sight, TV movie.
I haven't seen that one.
No, me neither. Didn't even know that one existed. But what a career.
In the Pink? Is it called?
In Pink at First Sight.
Oh, right, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I think it was a cartoon version. It wasn't the live
Maybe
action.
I have seen it. I do remember watching the cartoons as a kid.
Yeah. What a cheeky little Pink Panther he was. Crump approached producer Hal B. Wallace of Casablanca fame, who was an old friend from his Warner Brother days, with his concept for Ceasefire. And then the film got made, greenlit by Paramount Pictures. It was written by Walter Doniger, who worked on propaganda films for the US Army in the Second World War. He wrote prison dramas and westerns such as The Guns of Fort Petticoat and the prison drama The Steel Cage. And in 1991, and this credit is wild. Like I wasn't expecting this from this proper veteran writer who'd done, westerns like Maverick, things like that. He wrote the 1991 cult action film Stone Cold that starred the then NFL sort of renowned tackler, Brian Bosworth. Have you seen that, Matt?
I haven't seen that. I have
It's
not.
it's
I'm sad to say.
incredible. It's an incredible early 90s action film. Explosions, villains chewing the scenery, Bosworth being like the coolest mother you've ever seen. Like it's a proper cult one, and I think it might be on YouTube as well. If you haven't seen Stone Cold, I really recommend it. It's a proper beer and popcorn, like fun flick. There's a shootout in a courtroom at the end. It's worth it just
Oh,
for
wow.
that.
Cool. Nice.
It's so good. Anyway, cinematography was by Emmy-winning LSW Carter. His credits include Around the World in 80 Days, Maverick, Cheyenne, and Alfred Hitchcock's Foreign Correspondent. And this really elevates the movie. The 22-time Oscar nominee and 4-time Oscar winner Russian composer Dmitri Tiomkin worked on the film's score, and his credits include The Alamo, Guns of Navarone, Dial M for Murder, and 55 Days at Peking.
Ooh,
This is a really early
that's
credit
quality.
for him.
Yeah, that's
Really
quality.
something.
It's a good score. I can see where
Very
he's coming
good.
from. Yeah.
Brothers in Arms. It's not as good as Strategic Air Command, but it's up
slightly
there.
better than Men in War.
It's much better. Yeah. Shoulder to shoulder, we're brothers in arms. It's awesome. It's an
I
earworm.
wonder if he wrote the lyrics as well.
Maybe he did. Or is that
Who
a
knows?
song? I couldn't find it.
I don't know. There's some interesting choices in this because they sing Whistle While You Work as well, don't they?
They do as well. Yeah.
Or Whistle It, rather, or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
they do whistle it, yeah. No budget this week, but reportedly it made 1 million at the box office, which is big numbers for 1953.
Yeah.
For an hour-long B movie. So it did pretty well. And this film, as Matt said, it was shot entirely in Korea using real troops and supposedly real ammunition. And as we mentioned, it was filmed on 3D. And Matt, would you like to tell us all about that?
Absolutely. So yeah, this is the big claim for this film. It's the first movie shot in Korea, shot on 3D. It's not the first 3D war movie. Well, it kind of is. So in the early 50s, there was this amazing boom for 3D, and it became like a fad for about 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
So in 1952, there was a film called Bauna Devil, which was set in Africa, and it's like a safari movie, or Buana Devil, I should say. And it was the first 3D movie that really took off, and it ignited this first golden age of 3D. So at the time, what they would do is they would have two projectors playing the reels and simultaneously, and that would instigate the 3D effect basically with the glasses.
Right.
So technically, as I said, the first 3D war movie is actually Fort Tai, which is it's a Disney movie, I think, and it's more of an adventure type thing. It's set during the French and Indian War. It's all about the siege of Fort Ticonderoga, and that was released in May 1953. So it's a few months ahead of Ceasefire.
Right.
I think Ceasefire is really interesting because it doesn't lean too heavily into the whole 3D thing.
No.
The only sequences that I think really would have been, impressive for cinema goers and audiences would have been the introduction where that howitzer fires and it kind of like has a barrel shot and the smoke
really
comes out.
feels like it's meant for that.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be that's got to be an introductory.
Wait till they sit down and have that
moment.
houser fired at them. We're gonna print money, you see.
They're gonna shit one when that 105 goes.
Like that when they showed that train, the famous clip of the train coming towards the camera and everyone run. It'd be the same thing here.
And then a couple of others would probably be the bombing runs by the jets and the tanks.
Yeah.
And those sequences where the either the actors or the North Koreans or Chinese advanced towards the camera, they probably would have popped as well.
I wondered if they maybe did need depth, like kind of perception shots with the ridge as well. maybe. It's hard
yeah.
to know. So I don't think that I don't think the 3D version of this has survived because the versions we've seen are 2D normal format.
Yeah, they've all been kind of just. I assume it's just the one reel,
Yeah.
that was shown. So just to put it in context, 3D at the time in this sort of golden boom is largely focused around horror movies.
Yep.
Some budgeted, like bigger budgeted adventure films like Fort Ty, and a bit of sci-fi as well. So films like House of Wax, It Came from Outer Space, 13 Ghosts, House on Haunted Hill. This is all kind
Came
of
from Uranus. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
yeah, these are the kind of films that include like Vincent Price and brought Vincent Price into like the horror realm and kind of typecast him into that, with films like House on Haunted Hill, etc. and
It's
that
me,
kind of stuff.
Vincent Price. Ooh.
So the film basically came towards the end of the initial boom,
Right. Not very long then.
and
Not very
and
long
the initial
boom.
craze. No, it wasn't. It was 2-3 years max.
Wow.
And then they kind of continued on, and you'd have occasional like popcorn blockbustery type films that come out, and you go and see it in 3D, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
And then we had the
the
2010,
mainstream.
like, or the like
Oh
noughties
God, yeah,
3D.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
and then we had
they
the
had like 3D
resurgence.
TVs at home as
God.
well, and you were like, oh,
Oh, yeah. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief in 3D. Whoa. Like,
ooh.
who cares? It never worked for me anyway, because I can't see out my left eye. So it
Yeah.
never worked.
I've never seen a
My
3D
friend
movie that
took
I
me to
thought
see
worked.
one of the Fast and the Furious movies in 3D, and it just didn't work. So I watched that version, how you're not meant to watch it, with the weird hue on the screen, and it just looked bizarre.
Yeah, and that basically covers the 3D golden
Yeah,
age.
and that's amazing. Like, amazing stuff. Like, it's really interesting. This is such a as a film in it, it's a piece of media, it's a piece of cinema history. It's really interesting, this one.
Hmm.
So yeah, as Matt said, Mark Clark attended the premiere, and the men that fighting are from the 7th Infantry Division, and they fought in Korea for 850 days over the course of the war. And men for the division won 13 Medal of Honors for their actions over the 3 years. They fought at the Battle of Pork Chop Hill and the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir. So I wonder if they picked them because they were quite a decorated unit that people
Probably.
would know back home, or if they maybe just were free. They
Who knows?
just had them around. Right, so the retro review this week is from the New York Times, as Matt said, written by Bosley Crowther, great 50s name, November 25th, 1953. And I've truncated it down a little bit. So he says, a robust, hair-raising realization of the ruggedness of the foot soldiers' war in the ugly hills of Korea is provided in Owen's Crump's ceasefire, A Quiet Day on the Front. The permission and cooperation of the Department of Defense was obtained, and the area occupied by the 7th Division was set as a locale. No profound human drama is attempted, except in the instance of one man, a Korean, attached to the outfit, and this appears slightly contrived. Thus, the viewpoint is kept objective, which is best for such a film. Anxiety is not stirred for any individual, but it is strong for the welfare of the patrol.
It's a good review.
It's a long review. I had to really cut it down.
Yeah, I know. Later on, he talks about the actors. He says the soldiers who do the performing demonstrate no professional acting skill. Their cruel and cryptic behavior is as GI as the uniforms they wear or the formidable paraphernalia of rifles and grenades they tote. That's a line I liked, so I thought I'd pick that one out.
Also it's very a lot of praise for this. Much like theirs is the glory. It's not about the acting. You're not watching this for the acting. You're watching it for what it represents.
And largely, they do fine. Just like
they're
there's the glory. It doesn't take you out of the film. They're very capable of carrying it. Some of them are better out than others, in fact. But largely, it works really well.
No, it's absolutely fine. And we think we're kind of 99% sure that they ADR'd all their lines.
Yeah.
It sounds like they did anyway.
It's difficult to film in the field.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair. With wind noise and background and stuff. So.
And there was some definite dubbing because in that review, or in one thing that I read, it said that some slurs from the day were removed. Some of the soldiers,
they were.
Slurs were removed. Yeah.
I have it somewhere here. It was like 5 hells in a dam.
Yeah,
removed.
that's it. Yeah, some of the swears were taken out. Yeah, yeah. You can have one hell, but you can't have five dams. You know, people will be clutching their 50s pearls. Anyway, so on to the one word review this week, and it's a one word review. I think we really threw the listenership this week for the one word review, and it comes from at Sunyet or Sunyet, and he says 3D question mark.
I don't think he's actually seen it. I think he's just like 3D.
Yeah, but I hope Matt set you straight on that one. But yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for having one word review. That's going in the fourth vault, that one. Thanks very much for that. We love
Very
it.
rare.
Yeah, and now on to this week's Alley Tally.
It's time for Alley Tally on Fighting on Film.
This is 5 to Alpha. Contact now. Agreed. 852-676. Approximately 4 tanks and 10 APCs moving directly towards the wood. I'm observing. Over.
Hello, Sunray. Fighting on Film has partnered up with WarfareMedia.net to give our listeners exclusive discounts on a range of high-resolution Cold War adverts, propaganda, and recruitment posters. From blowpipes to nuclear threats to weapon schematics, Warfare Media has you covered. Visit WarfareMedia.net today and use the code FOF20 at checkout for 20% off high-quality Cold War posters. I repeat, FOF20 at checkout. Over.
Roger. Out to you and take action now. Send for SITREP as soon as possible. Over.
Ooh, we've got a lot to talk about here.
Boy, howdy do we.
This is a film for Ali. This is cool. Like we haven't even hinted at the coolest part of this film yet. Do you want to start off?
Okay, cool. So I'm not going to go for the coolest part, which we think, which if I'm using my 4-5 mind, I hope you are thinking what I'm thinking with this one. But I'll go with flak vests.
There's so many of them.
So strap in for Robbie's flak vest review.
I hope that turns into a jingle.
I might put a jingle over that. This film has some really rare examples of really lesser known and seen Korean War flak jackets, which first saw use in the Korean War after being used by United States Marine Corps troops in 1951 following trials in June. The types of vests you see are M1951-52 vests, M12 and T52-1 vests. The BAR, a lot of vests going on here. The BAR gunner has the M12 vest. I'll do a thread on this. It'd be easier for people to
that'd be cool,
pick it out. But it's a vest with how would I describe it? So if you're a baseball fan, which doesn't narrow it down because we're a lot of British listeners, but kind of like the sort of body armor that like a baseball umpire wears with the clasps around the shoulder.
Yeah.
There's pop studs there. Then there's a rectangular plate over the breast to protect your top, and then it's got a hanging down lower bit protecting
like
your
a
tummy,
skirt.
like a skirt almost. So he wears one of those. The lieutenant wears a marine pattern M1951 vest with the epaulettes and the kind of slanted pockets.
Look so silly though, don't they?
More like a sort of nylon mix vest with a zip. And then there is another type, which is the T52-1 vest, which is more of a sort of a basic vest with 2 large pockets on the chest area and like a band going around the midriff. From what I can gather, there isn't many depictions of these on screen ever, really. Even in Korean War stock footage, you genuinely are seeing M51 jackets because I think there's just more of them around.
Most common, yeah.
And there's an interesting thing. When they trialed these vests, all the guys were sort of not keen on them because they saw them as some kind of the quote in a book that I saw was like it's sort of like an effeminate, it's not a very masculine thing to wear in battle, even though body armor, obviously suits of armor had been worn in the medieval times and body armor had been used in the First World War. Then they ran the numbers, and then when they started to say the troops, look, this will reduce casualties by 39%, 40%. And then when those figures started hitting 60, 50% of like body wounds, chest wounds and things, then guys sort of clicked. And the Marines, I think, it's become this sort of eternal image of Marines in Korea and Vietnam of wearing these flak jackets. They're quite iconic pieces from that war. And yeah, it's just really interesting in this movie that you get pretty much all four types of Korean War
Wild.
flak jacket. There's a great book by Osprey. It's all about flak vests, and I did a bit of a deep dive for this week's episode. So if you see a copy of that knocking around and you're that way inclined, I'll pick it up because it's a doozy of a book. But yeah, my alley this week is obscure, and I mean heckin' obscure, flak vests.
That's what stood out to me as well. Like, as soon as we sat down and watched that, it's so noticeable that there's so many variations, especially in the crisper version of it that's available online. You can pick out the details so well on that, and it, as you say, it must be one of the few films that captures the variation that was possible.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Because there's a lot more flak vests knocking around in Korea and Vietnam than people are aware of, because there are just rare types. But so the fact this movie has all of them, I wonder if it was a choice from the filmmakers or it's just what these guys had.
Difficult to know.
Because it could be anything. Yeah, but no, I love it. I really love it. Matt, your alley. I know there's a lot to go through in this one.
Oh, there's so much.
For such a short film, there's so much.
Let's do a bit of a rundown on some of the small arms used. So a lot of the guys are armed with M2 and M1 carbines, but they've all got those beautiful 30-round magazines. And the lieutenant's got jungle mags. He's got them taped up together. Rob spotted one chap's got the grenade spigot for the carbine as well.
Yeah. Rarely seen.
Very rarely seen. You see them in photographs from Korea, and that's probably where they were most prominent. But one of my favorite pieces of kit from this is the M1 Garand with the grenade launcher spigot for that that rifle. And there's one of my favorite scenes in the film is when it gets used. So they fire a rifle grenade up onto the top of the crest of the hill, at a North Korean position, and it kind of just doesn't hit where it's supposed to hit. You can tell, it kind of lands off to the left.
The explosion goes off.
Yeah.
But the great thing about that is he puts the blank in.
He does. Yeah.
Oh, it's just brilliant.
It's great. It's one of those few occasions in film where you see rifle grenades being used, and it's by a Serbian soldier, knows what he's doing, trained with it, has been out on patrol with it already probably before a dozen times. M1918 A2 BAR. What else have we got? Lots of Mark II grenades. The lieutenant's got like
the
6 grenades on him.
Yeah,
the pineapples.
We dubbed him LT Nade, didn't we?
Yeah. He had like 6 across his chest, like loads. They're all like stacked up. There's a great little scene before the patrol moves off where I think it's the battalion major brings up a jeep full of magazines and grenades and
as well.
Radios.
Lovely thing.
And they all kind of like dig in and grab stuff. And then the Chinese or North Koreans, it's never really stipulated which units they are.
No, they say they're Korean at one sentence and they say they're Chinese in another.
They do. They've got PPSH 41s, and there's a mix of stick mags and drums as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And there's some RD-33 communist stick grenades that get thrown down the hill as well, which is really cool. So they had some captured stuff obviously on hand to equip the South Korean extras. I'm guessing the South Korean extras. It would have been a bit extra to have North Korean POWs play themselves.
But this whole thing of like with all the kit there. It's not only in the way that it's
Rob's like,
screen.
God damn it, I want North Koreans in this picture.
No. It's the way that it's used and it's carried. Like it's like we said on our longest day episode, because these guys are the real article. The way they carry themselves in those combat sequences, although they're short, there's something about them that is really authentic. We're not saying like saying Private Ryan is authentic, quote unquote, but this is more authentic. There's something about it.
It does. It has that authenticity to it. What else have we got? We got helicopters galore. We got Sikorsky H5 and H19s.
Proper early.
And then there's a
helis.
big set piece at the end of the film where they absolutely plaster a valley where a column of communist infantry's moving up, and I think it's F-84 Thunderjets are the ones doing the gun runs and dropping some napalm.
So great.
And M46 patterns as well, isn't there?
Pershings.
Oh, the Pershings.
Pershings. Yeah.
Nice.
Really nice to see. Yeah. No, they don't, you see them and they never come back. I think it's,
Yeah. There's 3 of them, isn't there? 3 or 4 of them.
yeah, they scramble them. I think it's implied they're doing indirect fire, like most
Mhm.
tanks in Korea were doing at some point.
Exactly.
You all see
Yeah.
the famous photos of them on elevated platforms,
Yeah.
essentially being used as mobile artillery. Not many tank-on-tank engagements in Korea, really.
No.
But there were a few. But I think now we should move on to the really cool thing that we love about this movie, and it's Ali related. There is a British soldier in this
2 of them.
movie. There's
2
two
of
of them.
One of them's wounded. It doesn't say anything, but yeah.
This is the third out of only 3 depictions of British troops in Korea in media. So you have Hill in Korea, obviously,
Yep.
the only British war film about Korea. Then you have John Crish's Captured, which is a propaganda movie about POWs being brainwashed. I have the Blu-ray in Foff Towers.
Yeah, it's kind of like a training movie, wasn't it? It was a Ministry of Information film.
It was kept under wraps for a long time. It's like a semi-documentary narrative piece.
Yeah.
It's very, very good, and we will do it on the show. There's a guest I'm really trying hard to get for that one. And then there's this. So
When you least expect it.
when you least expect it. So the patrol are coming down, and they're going up to find this bridge. And this British soldier sort of just pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally pops up out of nowhere. And he's got it's a quintessentially Korean War British soldier.
Yeah, it is.
So he's got a Sten Mark II. He's wearing a cap comforter, like rolled up like a beanie hat.
One of the best cap comforters I've ever seen, actually.
Yeah, I
He's
wonder
rolled
if he
that
was
to
serving.
perfection.
I wonder if he was a serving
I
British
don't
soldier.
see why he wouldn't be, but he's not listed as a credit.
He's not
so there's
credited.
there's no credit on there, so
No.
it's impossible to find out.
He has a mixture of British webbing and US webbing. It's not uncommon in Korea for British soldiers to be wearing a mixture. So he has Sten pouches. I think they're 44 pattern pouches. Paused it, tried to work it out. Which are slightly bigger. It looks slightly bigger. And then I think he's got M52 suspenders.
The yoke, yeah.
Or 36 pattern, M36 pattern suspenders.
Right.
Yoke, yeah. And then he has a 37 pattern belt. He's carrying a Fairbairn Sykes.
No, it's not. It's a spike bayonet for a number 4.
Oh, right, okay. Right, so
it
the bit of
looks
an
like it, but I had a
amalgamation here.
closer look because I was like, I need to check this because it'd be super rally if he was. But it's a number 4 bayonet. It's a spiker.
Yeah. And he's wearing a woolen undershirt, and he's got 37 pattern denim trousers on. It just looks brilliant. And his mate's wearing the exact same. And his mate's got number 4.
And he's got number 4. Yeah.
It's just.
I thought it was really interesting to see a number 2. Sorry, not number 2, a Mark II Sten.
Mark II Sten.
Because most of the photographs of guys in Korea you see with Mark Vs.
You do. You see the odd Mark III knocking around. Seen that. I definitely think
Mark
there
II's
were
interesting.
There definitely were probably Mark IIs out there a second line. For sure.
Oh, God, yeah.
Sure, I've seen some photos.
I'd be very surprised. I'd be very,
because
very
this is
surprised.
just before the Sterling comes, isn't it?
Yeah,
just
well, they tested the Sterlings in Korea with a couple of units with the Australians and British.
That's it.
In fact, there's some really great photographs of Australian troops on the line in flak jackets with early patchet Sterlings.
Really, really cool. Really cool pictures. But yeah, it's just a great little sequence. He leads them up. Have you got it for a favourite scene? So I don't want to ruin it.
No, it's yours.
I don't have it for favourite scene. But anyway, we'll just quickly
okay.
cover it in Ali. He takes them up this ridge. He asks for a cigarette, and he walks back. He says, I'll take you up there if you can help my wounded mate. And have you got a cigarette? And he's from the King's Regiment, who did serve in Korea. They first set foot in Korea in 1952. Took part in the Battle of the Hook and left in October 1953.
A Liverpool-based battalion.
Liverpool. He doesn't sound like he's from Liverpool.
No, but he's British. That's
Hello,
all
chaps. I've got a cigarette.
He doesn't, though. He's not. I think it's interesting they went with a private soldier rather than an officer as well.
Yeah, it's
nice.
They
easily could have had an officer there.
We just begged. We begged to see him rattle off that Sten at least once, but it doesn't happen.
I know.
Yeah, it's worth it. This movie It's another reason why this movie is so interesting, because there is so little on the Brits in Korea in any sort of media. And this is it. This is
so
if there are any
exciting to
more
see
out
it.
there. We have not found them yet. It was really exciting, wasn't it? It was like, I mean, for us FOF nerds, I'm sure the FOF listeners go, yes, more Korean representation. Come on. You know, it's like Harry Kane's just knocked in a 30-yarder against Slovenia. Come on. So I think on that
It
note,
was a Euros reference.
it was. We are deep in Euros territory. It's happening tomorrow at the time of recording, but hopefully by this time next week, the boys have got 3 points. On to favourite scenes.
Hello, I'm Al Murray, and you're listening to Fighting on Film, the world's #1 war film podcast.
My favourite scene is the rifle grenade I mentioned earlier, getting fired. That's my favourite. It's great. And
Okay,
only,
timestamp that. Go back, listen to that, and I'll cut him in mine.
and the BAR keeping them pinned down. I like that.
Very cool.
It's a nice representation of US Army integration as well with the black BAR gun.
Yeah, they were integrated by this time. Yeah, there's a few Korean War movies about that. There's one with Sidney Poitier and Alan Ladd. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, really?
The name
Alan
of it.
Ladd. That's interesting.
Alan Ladd and Sidney Poitier. Yeah.
Well, of course, there's a number of prominent black characters in Pork Chop Hill as well.
Of course there is. That movie is called All the Young Men, 1960.
I haven't seen that one.
I proposed it for the pod before.
Oh, okay, Mr. Receipts. I've proposed it for the pod.
I couldn't find it online to watch, so it had to wait and it fled. But don't worry, we Alan Ladd fans, I'm sure to come back round.
Never been a massive Alan Ladd fan.
I'm not really.
I'm willing to watch.
I sat watching him chew the scenery in Paratroop. Red Beret, sorry. So
yeah, same film. Yeah, same.
Sorry, Mark Urban, for that one. It was a bit of a turkey, wasn't it? But please go back and listen to that one.
One of the best quarry battle sequences you'll ever see.
So good. They kill Stanley Baker. Never forgive them. Is that your favourite scene?
That's my favourite scene.
Wow.
Yeah. And the rifle grenade. I love it. It's just great.
Fair enough.
That whole sequence where they're bouncing up the hill, doing the walking fire as well is really good.
Yeah. I've got that here.
With the M2 carbines kind of like firing bursts. That's beautiful.
It's when the troops finally start pushing on the ridge. This is classic B movie fare. You get a lot of build up and you get a really heavy actiony end. But because it's a B movie, there isn't that much action really. It's mainly shots of lads firing off into the distance, with the odd North Korean or Chinese trooper standing up and lobbing a grenade.
Yeah, there's 2 set pieces in there. There's one where there's a machine gun nest as they're crossing a river, and they outflank that and destroy that, which is where the British guy could have lit them up with a stead. Come on. And then there's the big set piece when they reach the objective.
That's my favourite scene too. As I said earlier, there's something so real about it. It's like the uniqueness of theirs is the glory, but for Korea, they fire in bursts, they support each other. The real men with this probably the same kit on, probably not change the shirts or whatever. And it's not the most technically or like bombastic action sequence we've recovered on the show, but there's like a truth to it.
There's little bits in there, like the sergeant advising the lieutenant and some of the the conversation between the soldiers. One feels like he's bad luck because he's never been wounded and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The film itself is really interesting because it tries to do these guys are going out on a patrol, but the war's almost over. But for them, the film emphasizes that the war's been almost over a couple of times. The negotiations go back and forth. There's some really interesting depictions of the South Koreans. There's Kim's wife, the old man that Kim knows who runs and takes a message to her, and the children that sing and parade through the little village as well. Some really interesting little bits in there. Is it the most authentic Korean War movie? Do you think?
Probably.
I think it's up there.
Probably because of everything that's going on in terms of production. I'd say it's up there. I think we are delving into final thoughts here, aren't we? So I think we probably should get onto it. But I'm with you here. There's no MacGuffin. like Red Dawn last week. There's no EMP device to go and fight. And, there's no, oh, the Koreans have got this super battle tank and we have to go and destroy it. It's not like that.
It's men on a mission, but not a bombastic
And
mission.
this isn't like uber cheap B movie like filmmaking. Like I think I might have mentioned it on the show before or done it in a show and tell. I can't remember. But there's a 1953 film called Combat Squad. And that is a really cheap, filmed on the Hollywood studio back lot. North Korean soldiers lined up against the back wall, and they shoot at the Americans, and the Americans shoot back at them, and the movie's over. It's not that. There's a lot more going on here. It's odd because it's not remarkable in terms of its cinematography. It's absolutely competent. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's like in the vein of Theirs Is the Glory on Nine Men, like having something with serving soldiers depicting themselves in the actual locations or filmed at the time. There's just something special about it. Yeah, it's one patrol from beginning to end, and that's it. There's just something here. Like there's a spark here. It's really hard to convey it unless you've seen it.
Got a grit to it as well. The sequences where the one guy spits on the machine gun nest that they've knocked out. Spits on the dead.
It's realism. That's the word.
Yeah, there's slurs. They call them various period descriptors for
derogatory terms.
Yeah, for the Chinese and the Koreans,
which have clearly been dubbed.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's one kind of trope where Kim's wife, is introduced as being pregnant, and he sends a message off to say I'll be home soon, that kind of thing, and he dies.
Yeah, it's obvious,
but it's choreographed, isn't it?
There's a little bit of drama in there, a tiny bit of drama,
and there's a classic minefield sequence as well, where someone eventually steps on a mine.
Yeah,
but there's no fat, just enough substance.
No.
A bit of gritty realism. It's a bit of a must see, I think. Like if you
must see, we've not done one of them for ages.
I think if you're an aficionado of Korean War movies and you like Pork Chop Hill, Men in War,
for sure.
I think
Sniper's Ridge.
There's a load. Steel Helmet, Fixed Bayonets. Anyway,
so you're just rattling off Korean War films now, Matt?
I think really, given the nature of its production and the cast all being serving soldiers, at least one of whom was killed in the fighting.
Yeah, of course.
I think it is. I think it's a must-see, just because it's so interesting.
Usually go, the highest praise I give a film is it's worth your time, but a must-see on the show is quite rare.
It's an hour. It's an hour long.
In the
you're not going to waste that hour. I can guarantee it.
If there's a FOF shelf with must-see movies on it, it's Theirs Is. It's Nine Men. And it's now Ceasefire. Okay.
And Cruel Sea.
And Cruel Sea, of course. Yeah.
And Hill and Korea.
And this shelf's going to fall over with the amount of VHSs on it. My word. But no, it really is. It's really something. It's on YouTube. It's available to go and see. It's an hour long. Stick it on while you're doing the laundry or eating your lunch. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, folks. Just one of those movies that we come across and we pigeonhole it and we go, right, that's FOF fodder for sure. Like there's something, it's got something about it. And then we watch, maybe me and Matt in the production meeting, we'll watch like 20 minutes, sharing our screen on a Zoom quickly. Just to go through it and sort of assess it. We do that every now and then. But this movie just captured our imaginations. And there's so much in here that it is a special little movie. So yeah, one of the rare FOF must-sees. I think you can't say fairer than that this week, can you?
I think so.
No. Yep. So yet again, thanks for listening. And do check us out on the social media. We're on X, Facebook, Instagram.
YouTube. We are on YouTube. All of our episodes are on YouTube. There's a couple of special things. We put our documentary that we filmed with Hattie Hearn of the IWM about B-17s. So that's up there. That's definitely worth checking out. We're going to do a bit more stuff like that in the future.
I think we are.
Go and subscribe on there. It's a good place if you want to get your podcasts on there. That's
just
cool.
Just another place to get the show, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's basically it.
And I think
we're on there now.
We worked it out the other night. We're on just over 900,000 downloads as well. So a
We're
big
very
thank
close
you for
to
that.
Mm.
Thanks for listening, folks. We'll catch you next week. We've been Fighting on Film. Bye-bye.
Bye.